Welcome to the Dirty Air Debrief, a Formula One podcast. My name is Deviani, and this is a show for shits and gigs by me, a Formula One fangirl, for all, as we follow our favorite rich, privileged men as they trot the globe and drive around in really fast circles, with drama and intrigue and mystery that even the best screenwriters would struggle to produce. Gossip Girl on wheels, if you will. Hello and welcome to the Dirty Air Debrief podcast. My name is Deviani and I am your host, and this is the first full episode, which is really exciting. So how it's going to work is that I'm going to choose a topic or whatever, and we are going to discuss for a certain amount of time, maybe 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is. But when the timer goes off, I have to shut up no matter what, because otherwise we'd be here all day and all night long. For now, the timer sound will be my voice going ding, 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 ding. But we will get to bigger and better days very, very soon. Oh, and you can find me on TikTok and Twitter at Formula Dev, and you can find the Dirty Air Debrief pod on Instagram. Okay, first topic is the Bahrain Grand Prix. And as the very wise Tumblr user Kelda Burgess said, life is the FIA, and I am Esteban Ocon at the 2023 Bahrain Grand Prix because, man, did he have a very unfortunate time. Alongside McLaren, the only people that were happy, I think, were Red Bull and Aston Martin. I am still not over the fact that Max's engineer was telling him to slow down. They were telling him, I need you to hit 1 through 7s, please. And they're like, there's no race at all, Max. Don't worry about it. Just, slow down, please. Which is terrifying for the rest of the season because they weren't even running things at full power. So if that's a glimpse of what we're in for, I'm terrified, but I have faith in my Ferrari delusion. We're going to come back because I was talking about numerology and how, Charles Leclerc's number is 16, and it's been 16 years since Ferrari's last world champion, and if and when Charles Leclerc wins the world championship, he will be Ferrari's 16th world championship. I also discovered that he retired from the Bahrain Grand Prix with only 16 laps to go. And you know what's real? Not science, not aerodynamics, not technical prowess. Numerology, that's what's real. I have a lot about Aston Martin. I don't even want to talk about Sebastian Vettel because I'll start to cry. But I will say Fernando Alonso is very impressive. I can be terrified of him. I can think he's an insane, chaotic little man. But man has guts. Man has what it takes. I feel like I'm about to start rapping. So that's my takeaway. Aston Martin and Fernando Alonso. Mercedes, they were making statements left and right. Toto talking about he's disappointed in the car and they got the concept wrong. But, I mean, what were they? 7th? 5th, 6th, and 7th? That's a regular day for most teams. It's kind of crazy how used to some teams and drivers are to win and to be at the top. And when they're 4th, they're like, oh my god, everything is wrong, we must abandon the concept. But I'm confused because it seems like Mercedes wants to have 3 different, it seems like they want Lewis and George to run different cars every time until they can figure out what actually works. But it just goes to show that the first year of new regulations is so crucial because whatever advantage you have is only going to compound itself. And, I know so much about compound interest, but that advantage is just going to continue exponentially growing. And it does seem like Toto and George want some FIA action to rein in Red Bull and their prowess, just like they used to do to Mercedes back in 2016. I don't know if we're going to get any of that because it's 2023 now. The new regulations start in 2026. So what will they even do? It was a good race, but I still I don't. Oh my god. Okay. Ding 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 ding. Okay, next topic, things I learned about Formula One drivers that I had no interest in knowing but have been subjected to. Pierre Gasly is a bath guy. Who would have thunk? Actually, I would have thunk. Learned that he likes steaming hot baths. We got to hear him say the word ick. He says it like hick with his French accent, which I love. And he laughed at someone saying that Christian Horner gives them the hick. And it was his big, evil Cruella de Vil laugh. So we know what he's thinking. 2, Theo Pocher is a Sebastian Vettel fan, and I already thought he was great. I think he's going to do amazing in F2 this year, but now I want him in that Audi seat no matter what. I learned that the driver's WhatsApp group profile picture is a photo of James Hunt, and the last thing that they sent in there was Happy New Year's texts. So, they're just like us. Group chats go stale sometimes, and all it takes is a Merry Christmas or a Happy Halloween or one of those really long spam messages. Anyway, also I learned today that Lando Norris has a Sebastian Vettel race-worn helmet from Abu Dhabi, to which I would like to talk about Sebastian Vettel's helmet messages, because I think that he is a poet, and I'm sure he knows it. Like, his message to Lando talked about keep smiling and keep your head on your shoulders. His message to Charles, I'll devolve into some kind of wormhole if I have to talk about the you're the greatest driver I've come across in my 15 years. And his message to Max about, you know what? I'm running out of time. What else did I learn? Oh, okay, I can't say that. Never mind. Lewis Hamilton is a model. I mean, he should be a model. George Russell got very done dirty with the Mercedes photo shoots, and okay, ding, 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 ding. Okay, next we must talk about this Mercedes letter, because I'll just read the beginning. To all our fans, Bahrain hurt. It hurt each one of us who head into every season determined to fight for world championships. It hurt the whole team after pouring so much. Okay, wait, this is wasting time. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, first, we won't panic or make knee-jerk reactions. I think you already did. This letter is a knee-jerk reaction. Second, we will keep our heads held high. Interesting. Third, we will be calling on each one of you two to power us to the front. Whether you've been offering criticism or support, there's a right way to do it and a wrong way. Oh, this is anti-bullying. Okay. We're ready to work on changing the course to 2020 Steven, blah, 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 blah. Are you ready to join us for the fight back? If not, then there are no hard feelings. This whole letter situation has got me cracking up because it's the most dramatic knee-jerk reaction thing they could have. Like, right after the race, Toto Wolff was like, we got the concept wrong. And then Lewis came out and said that they didn't listen to his feedback from last year, which I don't know what people are mad at him about. I think he totally had the right to say that. But this letter is just too funny. The point is that, like, what if midfield teams did this every week? What if McLaren had to be like this every time that they didn't score points? Like, can you imagine if teams put out a statement like this every time they didn't do how well they thought they were supposed to do? I mean, like, Red Bull would just, when Red Bull doesn't get things right, they say other teams are cheating, which, I mean, sometimes isn't the most wrong thing in the world. I guess it's just the regulations. And then Ferrari, who will never accept accountability for anything they've done wrong, and they're just like, Forza Ferrari, double, the triple, like, they just go harder, which is fine. And then they, like, bring out the Enzo Ferrari historic, even when we finish last, we finish first. It's great. I love it. I just want to know who exactly wrote this letter. Was it like the head of their communications that wrote this letter? Was it Toto itself? There's no pen name on here. Toto Wolff is the most dramatic man I know, I think. But this has also cued all the Lewis to Ferrari rumors. There's been photoshopping of him into the, like, Rosso Corsa driving suit, which I don't think Lewis in his right mind would move to Ferrari. I don't think he's part of the Ferrari draw a red car when I'm a child team. I think he was drawing McLarens back then, if we're being honest. Like, he doesn't buy into the fever dream, which, good for him. Speaking of Mercedes, I feel like we need to talk about the future, because this letter is fine and well. I don't know how George Russell is feeling right now, because he came out of his Williams phase. He was, like, desperate for a chance at the Mercedes, and now that he's here, it's shit. Like, the Mercedes was winning championships through his junior career, and now it's not good. He's, like, fighting for 7th place, and he's not happy about it. And it brings me to question whether we'll ever get a George Russell championship. If he's in the right car, he's definitely capable of it, I think. But it's not the right car right now. And Mercedes and Toto Wolff have already committed to getting Sir Lewis Hamilton his 8th world championship, and it might take a little bit of time for them to get from where they are back to the front of the grid, fighting Red Bull and Ferrari and I guess Aston Martin now, to win this championship. And until that happens, and once that happens, I think he'll retire, is George Russell having to wait like 5 seasons to get his chance at being the number 1 driver? Because if so, that just sucks. I mean, it's just not what he signed up for. I guess people have worse. Some people are driving a Haas, so I guess maybe he can't complain. But I think what he was promised and what he's been delivered is not right. Look at me like jumping into George Russell's defense. It's how the turntables have turned, really. But I do think that this will result in more interesting George Russell antics on track. I, for one, hope that he goes full war criminal. I mean, he already has, so I think he'll just continue being the way he is, and I don't want to... Oh, okay. The question is, who do you think you could take in a Formula One fight? I mean, like, between the drivers, who do you think you could take? And I went full me, and I did a tier list for this, and the tiers are... easy peasy lemon squeezy. I've got them any time of the day. Like 2 a.m., wake me up, I can fight them. Tier 2 is, depends on the day, how I'm feeling, how strong they are. You know, there's lots that goes into it. The third tier is, I think I could take them, but I'm definitely underestimating their strength, and they're stronger than I think they are. The fourth tier is, I don't want to fight them. And the fifth tier is, I'm scared, please spare me. And I would like to preface this whole thing by saying that I'm very overconfident and delusional in my own strength and capabilities. Like, Elise Meyer talks about the do anything gene and like that delusion of thinking you can like do all the home improvement projects and DIY stuff. I'm like that. So obviously I'm very overconfident. But let's get into it. So I think I could easily take Lando, Nico, Logan, George, Oscar, Checo, Esteban, and Carlos. Not at once, but individually. And I would like to talk about George Russell and Esteban Ocon specifically because they are very tall people. And they have like Slender Man vibes because they have dangly limbs. And I feel like that might make them uncoordinated. I sound crazy right now. So I feel like I could use their long limbs to my own advantage and strike short punches. I obviously know nothing about boxing, but I just watched Creed 3, so I can take some inspiration. The second tier, it depends on the day, is Max, Nick, Pierre, and Valtteri. I think I could actually move Valtteri to the I don't want to fight you tier, but Max, Nick, and Pierre, they have this similar energy. I'm not scared of them. I'm just a little wary because I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know enough about their history and lore and mythology to like accurately predict what's going to come out of their, not mouth, what their next move is going to be. Because I can do that for everything else because I'm a psychic. My I underestimate you tier is Yuki, K-Mag, and Joe. Joe, I just feel like he's so kind. I don't think he would like beat anyone up. I think we would go like Guardians of the Galaxy where we would break out into a dance battle and that would be our way of deciding who wins the fight. If it's a dance battle, then based on that video of him dancing with Charles, I definitely think I would win. But regardless, Yuki, I think he's crafty. Like, he's short, he's small. He's also been working out a lot with Michael Italiano, so I'm definitely underestimating him. But I think I could still take him. I just think it would be a lot harder than I'm thinking it would be. K-Mag would be like, I would just be like, he has a daughter at home. I can't hurt him. Not that I could, but, you know, I would be thinking about it too much. I'd be in my feels. The ones I don't want to hurt are Charles Leclerc, Lance Stroll, and Alex Albon, because those are my faves right now. Charles and Alex always, but Lance since like the USGP last year. So I don't want to like hurt my faves and then have them not be able to drive properly. Like that's kind of like going against my own, what's that word when you like vote against your own interests? Yeah, like it's like that. And then I'm scared of you is Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton could look at me and I would collapse. Like his like intense stare that goes straight through your body like x-ray vision will just like carve out my heart and like rip it into a million pieces. I don't want any part of that. Fernando Alonso, very similarly, like not his stare, but just his whole demeanor. He would just smirk, he would say bye-bye, I'm the bad guy, and I would just be like, oh. Okay, so my next little segment is reading recommendations, and this week it's an essay titled Now That's What I Call Late Stage Formula One by the Tumblr blog Formulinos. I did talk a little bit about this on TikTok, but I want to continue. This whole account, by the way, is brilliant. They have this thing called a hyperfixation corner where they write these brilliant essays about their interests, like some of them. There's one about the 2005 United States Grand Prix. There's one about the 1982 F1 season, like talking about the FISA-FOCA war, talking about the driver's strike, like talking about Keke Rosberg's eventual win. It's awesome. But this particular essay combines a lot of my interests of late-stage capitalism, social theory, Formula One, class consciousness, etc., and they bring in a lot of outside pieces, so it definitely gets your mind turning and making connections. They interestingly referred to core on TikTok, which I just recently discovered, like the dread and apathy of living in times like these personified on TikTok. And they also talk about how we're at this stage in Formula One, which they're calling late stage Formula One, which is where fans are no longer able or ignoring these contradictions that exist within Formula One, and how even though they're eating it up and asking for more content and like the popularity is still soaring, there's things that fans are commenting on that maybe they wouldn't in the past, or maybe because social media it's exacerbated. So whether it's things like the We Race as One initiative, which is empty promises, or like whatever it is that we're seeing through, we see through the PR teams and their analysis and the stuff they're putting out for us to perceive the drivers in a certain way. We're able to see those tactics because so many of us are studying communications or studying how to be a good publicist or whatever. So that's really interesting part of it. And then at the end, they talk about class consciousness and the trade unions within Formula One, whether that's FISA, whether that's the GPDA now, and what they're really doing and how we've come to this point. It's just a great read. I'm definitely not doing it justice. Definitely check it out. I think Tumblr is a little bit of a more isolated space, and I know a lot of people on there want it to remain that way because of how insular it is, but it's, for a lot of people, it's kind of like an undiscovered area. Not for a lot of people, especially in my generation. I don't know what that is now. Whatever we're calling my generation, grew up on Tumblr in good times and bad, but it's a place where I go to discover, and there's so many talented people, whether it's like writers like this, or the people that make GIFs or GIFs, I don't know. It's been 15 years, I still don't know how to say GIF. But regardless, I think this kind of analysis of Formula One is really important, especially as its popularity continues to rise due to content creators, Drive to Survive, and just like post-pandemic, everything that's come together to generate this big boom for Formula One, especially as we have more races, more Americans involved. I think these kinds of conversations are still really important, even as we're like, I think we can do both things. We can do the things for shits and gigs, and we can make fun of drivers for like the social media they post and all that, and we can analyze Formula One on a deeper level. I think we're all capable of like separating all these things and still enjoying Formula One as a sport, because just because you criticize something, actually I think if you criticize something, you're showing your love for it because you want it to be better for yourself and the people that are involved. And I'm now going on a tangent, but okay, perfect timing. Wow. Okay, let's keep this short and sweet. This was a blast. Anyway, thanks for listening, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. It's going to be race week very, very soon.